What's happening, people? Thank you for tuning on in. It is good to be back in your graces as we are knocking on the door of NBA free agency. It is good to be back from parts unknown, Australia, as I have dubbed it. But I was actually in Apopka, Florida, which was lovely. Lovely springs, beautiful, beautiful water. I don't understand how that water stays so refreshingly crisp throughout the brutal Florida summers, but it was a lovely time in a small town. It was good to get away. It was good to unplug. You literally have no choice but to unplug because the signal in Apopka, Florida is dreadful. So you really have no choice but to kind of sit it on out. I said if I was there and something crazy happened, maybe I would have record some videos. I brought my equipment and everything, and I was like, you know what, this is not going to happen. It would take 9 hours for my video to upload. If it was even possible for me to get there. So we are back. We are back in the garage studio. I'll be back with a radio show on Friday with full reaction to whatever happens Thursday night in regards to Miami Heat free agency, NBA free agency. And it looks like it's going to be kind of a dud. Like not what it was when I was like, I guess the most important thing that happened when I was gone is we did a lot of talking about the possibility of the Brooklyn Nets falling apart. Kyrie Irving, would he be a possibility for the Miami Heat? He was reportedly on the Miami Heat's, or he put the Miami Heat on one of his preferred destinations list multiple times that has happened with the Miami Heat. But he ended up picking up his option. And my only really reaction to that is the funny thing is when you watch all of this stuff is one, man, they're trying to do. The national media is trying to spin whatever they can to make the Lakers a relevant thing in free agency. Like whatever they can do, they're like, oh, he might take $6 million to go play for the Lakers. And I'm just like, that's almost criminal. Like, what are you talking about? He's going to go give up $30 million to go play for the Lakers. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way in hell Kyrie Irving is going to go take a mid-level exception to go play for a team. The whole point of him being unhappy with the Brooklyn Nets is because they won't pay him money. Like I was sitting here and I was just like reading some of this stuff come through. I'm just like, why are people so stupid? Like why are people so dumb when it comes to the Kyrie Irving thing? And they're like, oh, he might take $30 million less to go play for the Lakers for a year. Huh? What? It just didn't even compute. So that doesn't come to fruition for now. It appears that he is going to stay in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant. They're going to do a run it back for this year with, theoretically Ben Simmons. And if you're the Brooklyn Nets, I mean, honestly, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, this kind of worked out the best way possible. I mean, unless Kyrie Irving is going to completely make a stink for another year. But I feel like for him, if he does stick around with Brooklyn, it's almost prudent for him to kind of just have a quote unquote normal year, because then I feel like the floodgates open and everybody's going to be wanting to throw a bag at Kyrie the next off season. So I feel like he's in a pretty decent spot. I think Brooklyn is in a good spot as well. Now, if there comes like where there's some mutiny stuff and he continues to rub Steve Nash the wrong way, okay, maybe we can get to a point where that's back over. But I will say it was interesting to read in Barry Jackson's column that the Miami Heat made assurances to Kyle Lowry. This was very interesting to read. He says, Miami Herald, Barry Jackson, great reporter down here. There's no indication that the Heat wants to move on from 36-year-old Kyle Lowry, who's very close with Jimmy Butler. But Pat Riley has said that Lowry needs to get into better shape. The Heat assured Lowry there is no intention of trading him for Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving, according to a source briefed on the situation. We're told that Lowry wasn't upset when Riley said publicly that his conditioning must improve, which I didn't think that he would. I think that Kyle Lowry's old enough, mature enough to take that criticism from Pat Riley in stride. But the idea that they assured him he wasn't going to be dealt for Kyrie Irving. We talked about this a little bit a few days ago with the Mickey Harrison tweet in regards to vaccination. You wonder, like, does Mickey Harrison just have a hard line? No, not going to do it. And that's, knowing that they got a great relationship with Duke. They love Duke players, all that type of stuff. And Jimmy Butler has had the comments about wanting to play with Kyrie Irving. But there was a window there where this was all falling apart. Were they hoping that domino would fall to get to Kevin Durant? They were the favorite on multiple betting websites to get Kevin Durant. All that stuff kind of seems like it's been pushed off to the side. So it's kind of a light free agency. Like all this news yesterday, people were like, Tobin, Bradley Beal opted out. I'm like, dude, stop falling for this. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be on the Wizards. He's going to make $250 million from the Wizards. And that's that. That's all I really have to say on it. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, the signs have all been there for a very long time. He wants to go and secure that super, super contract with the Washington Wizards. They have decided we're going to invest another $250 million in another guard who doesn't get us to the playoffs. God bless the Wizards. Good for them. They're going to keep their guy. He wants to be the Dirk Nowitzki of the Wizards. Good for Bradley Beal, man. I mean, like, it is one of the things that's crazy right now is the money is so crazy with these guys that, they are left in this predicament for the most part, unless you're, some of the rare guys like Durant or LeBron. Giannis could obviously do this. Jokic could do that, where if they went to another team, that team pretty much becomes a contender. These other guys who are faces of the franchise, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, you're left with this kind of like, well, am I supposed to not take $100 million over 2 years? Like, you get it. It's like, the money has just gotten so wild that they're left in this predicament. Like, what do? You really are going to turn down the money? Like, that was kind of always the idea with these teams. They wanted to have the ability to get these guys and sign them up, and then they could go. We have seen, like, in the case of Russell Westbrook and James Harden, their team wanted to completely rebuild. He was ready to leave, and they have gotten moved. But for the most part, but for a lot of the parts, like, guys are going to stick around because the more prudent thing, like, think of a De'Aaron Fox. Like, if he makes if he gets to some type of level, will the Kings just keep paying him and paying him and paying him? I don't know. But the news of Bradley Beal opting out, he's out. He's going to sign a deal with the Wizards. Come on. Like, I have no doubt about that. I will be stunned if he actually goes to another team or is seeking a trade to another team or any of that stuff. I think that it's pretty clear he's going to stick in Washington, and maybe Washington does something. Maybe they end up getting some kind of a move that pleases him. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think that's going to be a thing. The biggest name that seems like it's going to move is going to be Jalen Brunson. And an interesting thing that kind of came out of this Jalen Brunson thing yesterday is the Heat were part of this Jalen Brunson meeting, which was kind of weird because it's just like they didn't have any ties to Jalen Brunson. This has very much seemed like he is going to the New York Knicks. And then Chris Haynes comes out and he reports that the Miami Heat have a meeting with Jalen Brunson, which is kind of weird. Because like everybody kind of just thought he was going to the New York Knicks, and then Riley secures the meeting, which he's done before. I mean, like we saw this with back in the day with LaMarcus Aldridge, no cap space, no assets. Hey, pass the breadsticks. Here's a velvet bag of rings, LaMarcus. What do you think? And then there's this report that comes out today from Tim Reynolds, who covers the Miami Heat. He covers the Miami Heat down here for the Associated Press, covers the NBA. And he tweets out that the Miami Heat are not planning to meet with Jalen Brunson, and they did not have a meeting scheduled with Jalen Brunson. So all this free agent f***ery that's going around seems to just have been a big leverage play from Jalen Brunson. Like, we need a dark horse team. Who could be a dark horse team? And I feel like for the New York Knicks, this was all just kind of a play of like, everybody's kind of making fun of them for giving all this money to Jalen Brunson, but there obviously are all these ties to agents and coaching staff. You know, it just seemed like, okay, this is the match. You're going to give Jalen Brunson a ton of money. How can we give this some credibility? I know, let's have him meet with Pat Riley. Let's have him. But it's so weird to me that was the plan just at free agency? Oh, never mind. They blew him away. No meeting with Pat Riley, and the Heat weren't going to say anything. It just seems like it just seemed like such an odd thing. And then you had the report from Barry Jackson that they assured Kyle Lowry they weren't going to trade him for Kyrie Irving. That seems because of the relationship that he has with Jimmy Butler. Like, Kyle Lowry appears like they're going to be his point guard next year. And so while Jalen Brunson, kind of feels like a young version of Kyle Lowry going in there, I don't know if it's the seismic move that they're going to use Kyle Lowry's salary in to make a deal. Like, it feels like you would hold on to that bomb for if Donovan Mitchell demands out and he wants to go to the Miami Heat, or Bradley Beal, who I don't think is ever going to go anywhere, but something like that. I don't feel like the Miami Heat make this move for Jalen Brunson. I would like to get a little bit younger at point guard. I do think that there are concerns with Kyle Lowry being the age that he is. It was good to read that he's not offended that they want him to get into better shape. It did not say that he is committed to getting into better shape, but hopefully that is the case. I just found that the Jalen Brunson thing was just too out of left field to make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It was just a strange thing. It was to hear that the Miami Heat were going to be going after a guy that nobody really thought that they had an interest in. Nobody really heard any ties to. Not like the Heat haven't operated in the dark before, but I don't know. I just looked at it and it just made me kind of pause and go, don't know if I'm buying it. It feels like free agent fuckery that's going on, to be honest with you. Like, it just the rumor mill is going crazy right now. Tweets are flying fast. There's cryptic tweets all over the place. So for me, when I saw Jalen Brunson and the Miami Heat, I'm like, I don't really get it. I don't get it. It just felt too obvious. First of all, the reports of it being that the representatives were going to the Heat to get a meeting. That's kind of weird. So the Heat aren't interested in him. You're just interested in talking to the Heat because he's so interested in talking to the Heat. Then looking at his agents, and who they represent, I was just like, I don't really see, like, where's the favor here that the Heat are doing? Does he represent Tyler Hero? Like, what is there an Orca here? And I just didn't see that either. So I found all of it just very, very odd yesterday that the Heat were just kind of thrown into the mix, because the Heat are always going to be a team thrown out there for leverage. Great city, great organization, championship organization, incredible organization. And, when you're talking about the Dallas Mavericks and the New York Knicks, two teams that Riley would love to F with, and then you talk about an organization, the Knicks, who are a laughingstock and need to make it seem like what they're doing has, I guess, meaning, has leverage, has a reason. Because it just feels like very much like, oh man, we're paying Jalen Brunson more than anybody could possibly pay. And everybody's kind of just looking at it and be like, yeah, that kind of seems like a little bit too much for the guy. What are you guys doing there? I don't really understand. And apparently the Heat didn't understand either, because they felt the need to have it out there via the Associated Press that there is no meeting with the Miami Heat. There never was a meeting with the Miami Heat. So very, very odd thing that's going on there for sure. If I look at this team and I see, we talk about two places you really want to improve. I think a lot of people look and they say point guard. And then I think a lot of people look at it and they say, well, it's seemingly they're going to need to do something at power forward, because it does appear that PJ Tucker is lining up to go to the Philadelphia 76ers, which I'm disappointed about. I think that for PJ, if there was one team I didn't want him to go to, it's Philadelphia, because I hate them. And I don't understand, if you're PJ Tucker, we're talking about all the money that's kind of crazy that's getting thrown around. This isn't like an exorbitant amount of money that he would be passing up, reportedly. I mean, it is reported the Heat are willing to give him 3 years guaranteed. They're not willing to go full mid-level because they don't want to hard cap themselves. They don't want to break flexibility on potential moves and things like that. So they have kind of hit it at a level of we're going to give PJ Tucker a raise, we're going to give him guaranteed years, but we're not going to give him the most amount of money that we can give him. And we know that PJ Tucker felt slighted. He was very open about this, that he felt slighted at the idea that the Milwaukee Bucks kind of lowballed him, just didn't think anything of him leaving, and so he went to the Miami Heat. And he played fantastic this year and has definitely earned himself a pay raise, but obviously his age being what it is, and his limitations, I guess you could say, on offense, if that's what people want to say about him, will make you hesitant to give him all of the money in the world. But obviously this is a franchise that really loved what he brought to the table this year. I just think that for them, there has to be a little bit of caution of, he did kind of break down by the end of it. He does not seem like a guy who's very open into doing a maintenance plan. So how is this going to hold up? Like, does it eventually just get to the point where he can't give you anything by year 3? I don't know. There's reports from the Herald. I'll give you a little bit more because Barry Jackson had a great report on a bunch of stuff here where he says, Heat on Wednesday hadn't given up hope of signing Tucker. So far, Miami's been firm on giving him 3 years, $27 million using the early bird rights and not a 3-year, $33 million that Philadelphia or the Heat can give him. Miami doesn't want to use its full level because it would move him close to the luxury tax and make the Heat hard cap next season. With Tucker opting out, the Heat has $130 million in cap commitments. But Heat players are said to be lobbying Tucker to remain with the team. Butler is hoping that he re-signs with Miami. Tucker allowed Wednesday's deadline to pass, making him a free agent. I think that, Jimmy wanting him back, obviously that holds weight like it did with the Kyle Lowry thing. Now, there are reports that the Miami Heat are looking at certain options to replace him, a Danilo Gallinari. I'll believe Danilo Gallinari's on the Miami Heat when I hear Mike Biamonte introduce him in a Heat uniform. Until then, all Gallinari rumors and reports are null and void to me. I do not believe them. I do not care about them. I do not put stock into them. This guy's been linked to the Miami Heat literally for like the last 7 seasons and always seemingly will go where somebody gives him the most dough. So I don't buy it, and I don't think it's going to happen. The interesting one, I think, is Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's reportedly, there's a report out of Phoenix that the Heat are the favorites to trade for him if they were to lose out on PJ Tucker. Which, look, you want to talk about tampering and all this. People out of Philadelphia are like, the PJ Tucker thing's as good. This was like reported days ago that PJ Tucker going to Philadelphia is as good as done. They'll give him the max of what he can get. The Heat will not. And I think to PJ that probably signifies something. Obviously has familiarity with playing with James Harden. You're the front court mate with Joel Embiid. I was watching Get Up today. They're like, does this make them the favorite? You bet your ass. Like, if the Miami Heat brought back PJ Tucker, no one's saying that makes them the favorite in the East. But because it's Philadelphia, they'll be like, oh my God, the Heat just added Karl Malone in his prime. That's why they're going to treat PJ Tucker. And I love PJ Tucker to death, but like, let's be real about it. That's how they're going to treat it. So if this is just a case of, like I read another thing, well, this is bigger than basketball. This is a maneuver. Let me see what the exact thing I saw from like out of Philadelphia. They're like, this is bigger than basketball. This is a thing of, he can go and get open restaurant or open businesses in Philadelphia, and the third year means a lot to him. Okay, well, we say it's bigger than that, so it's about money. If it's about money, good for PJ Tucker, dude. Like, but I get the Heat's hesitancy because they're always out whaling. They see what the market is. They see how volatile it is. Do you want to take yourself out of the game for somebody who's going to be 37? They already kind of did that with one of their point guards. Like, there does have to be, I think, for the Heat, we talk about running it back and we talk about what they're going to do. There has to be some level of what is this team going to look like by the end of it? Because at the end of last year, our 2 old guys could not walk. Now, in fairness, neither could their young guy. They're their youngest guy. But at the end of it, PJ Tucker running to the ground, Kyle Lowry, hamstrings didn't work. I do think that there has to be some level of the Heat changing. Like the Hawks yesterday going and trading for DeJounte Murray. I don't think it makes him an immediate contender, but I think it makes him better. And you look at Boston with their flaws, they're still a young team. Still, all these guys are kind of entering their prime. And I mean, unless there's like smoke to Jalen Brunson, to Jalen Brown wanting out, you would think they're going to be back in the game. Milwaukee, of course, is going to be back in the game with Chris Middleton and everybody they got. Philadelphia, like, look, you're just never going to get me to believe in James Harden. Like, I love all the adorable, oh, he is committed this offseason. He is taking less money. He's taking 44 instead of 47 million. He is not going to nudie bars as much. All right. Okay, bravo. What do you want, a cookie? So I do think you look at everybody, they're all kind of retooling and finding new ways to get themselves a little bit better. And I think that for Miami, coming back with the entire roster, PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, the whole crew, just running it back, I just think it's a dangerous game unless you are really counting on Tyler and Bam taking another leap. I think for Tyler, it's more of a leap. I think for Bam, it's a jump. I think if you look for Bam to take an offensive jump and Tyler Hero to take an offensive leap, I'm mostly talking about postseason play, then you're better off running it back. But I think that's a risky thing. I think it's a risky thing to just count on internal improvement. There is a benefit to it. One of the things that I do like about this, though, with all these deals, seemingly, is all these deals really do seem to involve keeping Tyler Hero. And obviously, I think Bam seems about untouchable as untouchable gets for them. But most of these deals that you hear out there, all of them would pretty much deal with, hey, you're keeping your two best young players on the team. And so whatever that leap is, it will happen. And then you're going to supplement that with something new, different, maybe better. We'll see. But I think for the early going, like, is there going to be an orca out there? Is there going to be a whale? Maybe not. It may be just, beautiful mahi-mahi fishing for right now. I don't know if Riley's got I think he's got more of a hook than a harpoon right now for the offseason.